What is up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, and today we're going to be discussing Hammerhead, one of the new Final Stand maps. As you guys can see here, I've been having a bit of a bash on Rush mode as well as Conquest mode over the weekend, but since Final Stand week should now be over, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on this map, and of course Hangar 21, hopefully in the near future as well, so stay tuned for that one. So, Rush mode, is it any good on this map? That is probably the question on everybody's lips. As we know, the vanilla Rush maps were not good, and they've done a lot of work on those in the CTE to tweak things. So I'm on the third set of MCOMs here. We're actually just pushing up. I think I actually missed the footage, unfortunately, of the first set here. But this map seems to be okay. There's quite a bit of verticality. You're fighting from the top of a valley. It's very mountainous, and you've pushed down towards the lakeside, which you will all know from the Hammerhead map. And as you progress through the different MCOMs, you will go around the edge of the lake, finally ending and leading into the large building, which you guys will know from the B and C flag in Conquest mode. So as you can see here on the third set, there's one MCOM here inside a warehouse, and there's one down on some docks, which is at the lakeside, which is, you know, a classic setting for Battlefield MCOMs. There's always seems to be one in a warehouse and one right on the docks, doesn't there? I don't know why that scenario seems to keep popping up again and again. Now, I did find this map enjoyable, although if I had one gripe, it would be that it seems that the further you get into the MCOMs, the easier they become. And I thought the whole point of Rush is that the first set of MCOMs weren't supposed to be that big of a challenge. There was supposed to be plenty of flanking routes, you can get around from different directions, you can overcome the defenders, and you can take them. And as you progress to the second, third, fourth set of MCOMs, it becomes harder and harder. The flanking routes become fewer and far between. But that just doesn't seem to be the case on this map at all, actually. When you start off with the first couple of MCOMs, there's actually one right on the road. If the defenders spawn in straight away, they're actually able to get up there and plant C4 right next to it. So if you drive along in the Amtrak, you're just going to get insta-gived by some support or recon player using C4. I would have really liked to see DICE implement the actual lake as a method of transportation. You know, at the start when the lake actually isn't frozen on the first set of MCOMs, maybe they could implement perhaps one rib boat or one or two jet skis instead of that. And then as the lake becomes frozen, you can utilize the snow sleds, or you can utilize perhaps quad bikes or something like that. But they chose not to do that. I would have thought that would be an obvious flanking route, and I think it's fair, you know. Yes, you have a fast method of transportation, but it's a huge open lake. The enemy defenders are obviously going to spot somebody coming in a rib boat, you know, coming in a snow sled. They're going to be able to see you from a mile off. It's going to force some of them perhaps to play engineer and use javelins, but it's going to change things up a bit. It's going to make it a bit harder for the defending team. So you'll also notice from that last set of MCOMs that the recon class is extremely powerful on this map with the spawn beacons. You actually can parachute in here. So my squad mate, he got a spawn beacon on top of the warehouse where we destroyed the first MCOM, and we were then able to just simply parachute repeatedly on the second one and really outflank and overwhelm the enemy. Now we're moving on to the final set here. This is, of course, as I mentioned earlier, inside the large building that everybody knows from the Conquest variant over B and C flag. So I'm sort of busting down the front door here, trying to hold my ground and hope that my teammates are soon going to flood into the area and help us sort of overwhelm some of the enemy presence. Now you do have a number of other flanking options. You can actually go up on this mountain. Don't close the door like that guy just did, because it is actually your team's flanking route as the attackers. And then you can parachute down this lift shaft. And then of course you have the good old Amtrak approach, just like in Battlefield 3. This thing was so powerful. Just go and sort of sit on the MCOMs. Unfortunately for these last two, you can't really sit on the MCOMs per se, because you're going to drive this thing on this little area of ice. So if you go here, you're essentially going to be a sitting duck. But as you can see, I'm trying to keep the enemy team at bay as much as I can, and hoping that a few of my teammates are going to slip past them and get a plant off on the MCOM so that I can try and cover them. So all in all, I found Rush mode enjoyable. Definitely not the worst Rush map on Battlefield 4, that's for sure. But there are some mixed feelings out there. I'd really like to see them address those first set of MCOMs and make them slightly more viable. Maybe, as I said before, you know, jet skis or something coming in from the sea. So just quickly at the end of this video, I wanted to have a quick chat to you guys about Conquest mode. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of footage on this so far, so you know what vehicles are on here. You know all about the indoor area over at B and C that I showed you also in the Rush map. But what I want to talk about is some attack helicopter gameplay. I had an absolute blast in the attack heli. I was able to get some kills and we were actually able to survive. This really reminded me of the map Wavebreaker from the Naval Strike DLC, in fact, where attack helis are really viable. I mean, if you think about it, there really isn't anything to oppose you. There's only one attack helicopter on this map that spawns at a flag, so you don't have to deal with the attack heli on the enemy team. There's no scout heli, no AA, no attack jet. In fact, really the only thing that can take you down is the stealth jet on the enemy team. Other than that, there's tanks and infantry, but attack helicopters are obviously designed to deal with those pretty well. So this experience definitely reminded me what attack helicopters are capable of, and you know what it used to be like back in the Battlefield 3 days. I'm sure you guys miss the attack helicopter as much as I do, and all I want to say is, Dice, if you're listening, for the love of God, do something about it. Alright guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. As always, leave your thoughts down below. I would love to know what you guys think about Rush and Conquest mode on this map. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.